mindset was like a big one for me, especially in terms of like consistency on like a specific project, because I think it's really easy. And I was a huge victim of this, and I even still am in many ways. The only thing that really matters, or I think one of the things that matters the most, is like how good your creative is.
Make sure like, just as you'd like have like a food diet, like how are you consuming like information?
Yeah.
What positivity, what type of like language are you telling yourself? Like, can I do it? Or like, oh, or are you saying this person's lucky, I'm jealous or whatever? Like that's not going to help 100%. You. What's up, guys? This is Miggle. Welcome to the very first installment of the Built From Nothing podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So just a little bit about me. My name is Miggle. I've started a 6-figure Airbnb arbitrage business, 6-figure coaching business, and a 6-figure done-for-you funding company. I've helped over 100 businesses raise over $10 million in 0% interest funding to start and scale their business. So the purpose of this podcast is to talk to other business owners and figure out their humble beginnings, their rags to riches, what their story is on how they started and how they got to be where they're at now. Talk about specific struggles that they face, because you guys might be facing them as well, and how they specifically were able to overcome that. So today I'm joined by my really good friend and business owner, Jeff. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for being the very first guest, man. So
I'm stoked.
Why don't you just start off by telling the audience who you are, what you've been building, and just any like highlights or big accomplishments you've had with your business so far.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So my name is Jeff. I'm a go-to-market partner for B2B companies, specifically more so nowadays B2B SaaS companies. So we do a lot of their content on LinkedIn specifically, a lot of their content on X, and then also manage a lot of their cold DMs and cold outbound via cold email, like a full service suite for all that. Because I mean, many business owners are very busy, obviously. They're handling fulfillment, they're handling their own orders and their own problems, and they don't want to have to hire a full team of SDRs or a full team of content creators or whoever it might be. You need to train them. You need to figure out how to actually do all these things, write good copy. And so we just take care of that for them. So right now we're at about 6 figures. It's going very well. We have been onboarding some new people the last couple of months, and that's been very exciting.
Hell yeah.
Especially just learning with like scaling challenges and operational challenges, keeping quality consistent and making sure everyone is receiving full attention. So it's been a good time.
That's awesome, dude. What I like about it too is like, I remember back in the day, because from what you were talking about, basically you're doing marketing, you're also doing the content, and then on top of that, like part of like the sales process, like you said, setting. And I remember back in the day, like everyone and their mother had like a content agency and, oh, we only run ads, or I'm only selling the sales stuff. But it sounds like for you, you're doing kind of like everything, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, we like to call it like all bound in the industry, because right now, like the overarching term, especially nowadays, is called these like go-to-market engineers. And so a lot of companies that are coming up, they're like, we don't really want to hire agencies, or we don't want to hire whatever. We want to have like a go-to-market engineer. And that is someone who handles like the full suite of all these like new automation tools that are coming out. Like Instantly is a huge one that came out however many years ago now, but they're more and more popular. People utilizing LinkedIn for mass DMs, like using tools like Prosp or Tripify or HeyReach or all these different companies. And so it just seems like the industry is growing so fast and allowing more and more people to take advantage of incredible leverage of just people who can, like now one person can manage many different LinkedIn accounts, many different email accounts, and send thousands, tens of thousands of emails every day, every month, whatever kind of volume you need, and more so take advantage of other people's LinkedIn accounts to also send many DMs per week on that as well. So it's like we now have this like new role that's been coming out the last couple of weeks, mainly popularized by Clay, and they are like a massive company in the niche. And yeah, it's just very interesting to see the industry evolve over time, this new kind of like go-to-market role.
Yeah, that's sick. So from our past conversations, can you just kind of like educate people specifically on kind of like, if I was a client for you, right? I was like, hey, I need to get more leads. I need to close more deals. Like just from like a high level overview, like how do you guys actually do it? I know you actually taught me some of it. Yeah. I need to re-implement it, because like when I did do it, I was running off of all the free trial softwares, and I actually got a bunch of bites on it. I had like a 1 to 2% like response back rate with people who are actually interested.
Doing email or
doing the email thing that you taught me. And it was all just because like with all the softwares with the free version, they're like, hey, you can only send like 300 or something. But out of those, I got like 3 to 6 like people who actually responded. And I'm just thinking like, damn, if I was doing 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is, like, so I need to actually get back into it. But like, can you kind of educate the people watching and also me, because I need to like redo it and actually pay for this stuff. So
I'm sure you'll ask like great questions in terms of like people who just have no idea like what it's all about. Yeah. So there's two main outbound that works especially well for B2B right now. It's LinkedIn and it's email. Basically, any business that's making any money at all is having either a person manually do it or they have a go-to-market engineer like do it to have automated, mass sendings of emails and LinkedIn DMs. And so what you would want to do is find out, okay, who is my exact customer? What do I say to them at what time? And how do I get as many of them as possible so that we can kind of put them down this funnel? And of course, it's the generic, marketing funnel. It's like I used to be in like, drop shipping and like e-commerce and stuff like that. So it's like you show them the ad and your ad has to be good enough that like it goes to your website and then it goes to the add to cart and then checkout and then like all that different kind of stuff. And so the same thing works the exact same way for B2B businesses. So in your scenario, right, you'd be like, cool, like I'm going to get 10 of my previous clients and I'm going to reverse engineer a high volume list based on that. So that would look like, okay, so for my example, right, I'd be like, okay, cool. My last 10 clients were B2B SaaS people. We have some people in like insurance. We have some people in like manufacturing. And so what we can do is we can put those people who are already clients or were almost clients or just people who are good fits in general and find what's called like the least common denominator in that big public database of millions of people. And then you can hyperfixate that down to just a couple thousand or a couple hundred. And so that's like a really big deal, right? So it's like, then you have people who look kind of similar, might be the same way as you, as your previous clients, and you can just get like a list of 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. You'd clean out that list, which is like a technical thing, but more so, you now have a list of 5,000 people who could potentially be clients or prospects. And so the next fun step is trying to figure out what do I say to these people so that when they receive an email from a stranger out of nowhere,
they actually open it. Because so many people spam, cold DM or whatever, and it's just like, even if I know they could help me, for me, because it's a cold DM, I'm like, block. Like I just don't want to hear it, So
it's
how do
like
you get past that part?
Yeah, that's like half the battle, exactly.
Yeah.
So not only is it difficult when you're sending thousands of emails every day to get into the inbox in the first place because you might go to spam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, once you've solved that, how do you get them to actually respond? And that's like 80% of the battle, I'd say, in terms of like actually having a successful outbound campaign. Because you can go into the person's inbox, you can be talking to the right person at the right time, but if you just don't know what you're saying, you don't know what you're talking about, and put it in like their own industry language that they care about, they're just not going to respond. And so the way that you do that is you split test and you say, cool, what does this person care about? Not what I care about. I don't want to talk about me. That's like a really big thing. Like never talk about yourself in a cold email. Don't ever be like, oh, like, this is like what we do, and we do this, and this, and like this is how we can help you and whatever. When you get an email, you're going about your day. They're invading your personal space basically because you're going into your inbox. And so you're not at all like in the context to be sold something. And so if I come to you and I'm like, hey Miguel, we do content and we do outbound, and I could probably get you more leads. You'll be like, good for you, man. Like I don't really care. Like I'm sure that's
block.
Important, but like block, mark to spam, whatever. But if I was like, hey, Miguel, I actually just got done talking to someone in your specific industry and we brought them 10 leads this month, could I try to do the same thing for you?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like how we're going to do it or what we specifically do, but I'm saying this is the result that I want to get for you. So it's why do you care? I'm talking about you, not me.
And it's specific too, because like for me in the funding space, if you're like, hey, your competitor XYZ just got them a bunch of leads, I'm like, oh, how do they know this person?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hate them. They're my competitor, or whatever it might be. Like,
it's some FOMO,
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, if this is how they're doing it and they're good, that makes me more inclined to actually like listen up.
Yeah, and so like the things that convert really well, and like especially email copy, just all copy in general, is a reason why you're reaching out. That's a big one. So you have some sort of personalization of like, hey, I'm doing this for other people in your exact space. So like this is relevant to you. And then also social proof. We're doing it for other people, or I just got someone else that's just like you. You know, 10 different leads. Social proof is very big. Maybe some sort of like case study or metric where it's like, hey, like this is the exact thing that I'm going to do for you. And if you care about that metric, then you'll start to listen. You know what I mean? And then just overall, an easy call to action. It could be like, hey, do you want to hop on a meeting? That's like a not very like soft call to action, but you could say, I'm so confident I can do it for you. I'm going to record a Loom video specifically for your business. and I'll tell you our exact plan. I'll go over the entire thing and I'll tailor it. Like for like us, for example, right? I'll be like, hey, I'll give them specific examples of like LinkedIn content directly into their email, the first email that I send them. I'll be like, hey, I was thinking about doing content for you. I'm thinking that you do ideas like this and this. We know it works because this and this. What do you think? And so that was like our most recent like successful campaign that like got us a good amount of meetings and got us a good couple of clients. And I was pretty stoked about that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And then like also a lot of that is like automated because like you already know where to find like the list. And then like with the actual like email stuff, I'm assuming you just put into some AI and it like researches like the competition or something like that, or?
Yeah, there are ways to do that. A lot of people use a tool like Clay. I use Hey Stranger. That's like my own personal like software that we use for this. And so we'll use that for personalizing these cold emails because it's hard when you have a list of like 1,000 people to kind of sit through and be like, how can we make this sound like it's specifically for them? Everyone mentions like, hey, Miguel, like your first name is pretty obvious, right? Or like your company name or whatever. But what we'll end up doing is we'll have, and this is getting pretty technical, so let me know if I want to go a bit higher level, but like we'll go through each individual prospect's website and we'll scrape all the information on there and have AI be like, how are we going to personalize this particular email for this exact person?
Gotcha.
And so that's how we can come up with like LinkedIn ideas on an individual level, or we
without
can say,
like all the freaking work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's sick.
Because what some people will do is they'll send like an email out and be like, hey, like just for example, I want to do LinkedIn content for you. And if you respond back, instead of hopping on a meeting, I'm going to send you 5 content ideas. We just give them the content right off the bat. They don't have to do anything at all. It's just right there.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many different ways can you reduce friction to make them trust you enough to respond like you're saying? It's like you get a cold email and like, even if it's a decent offer, you're still kind of like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't trust you. It's a big trust thing.
Yeah.
Versus if I were to come to you in person and be like, yo, this guy can solve your problem for you, you trust me because you know me.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So
exactly.
it's this big spectrum of like, how do you get them to trust you? And a lot of that is social proof. It's personalization, making it seem like a real human wrote it. Stuff like that.
That's dope, dude. Thanks for putting this all on game. Like, I'm literally going to apply this stuff and ask you a ton of questions after this podcast. So that's dope.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Moving into the next thing, like, one of the big goals I want to have with this podcast is just really just kind of inspire people and like give them actual tips. So like a lot of the stuff you just talked about on how you do your like marketing is like really awesome, like gold that we could like actually implement. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to touch up on is like, how did you kind of like start? Like, where did you start? Like, have you been doing this for a long time? Like, what made you get into it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. The only people who like ask me that question are like people who are like super interested. Like when they're like about to move forward, they'll be like, so who even like are you? So it's like a pretty like rehearsed line at this point from like just different sales calls and stuff. So I started off when I was like 17 or 18 years old, doing what everyone does at 17 or 18 years old, is some drop shipping, right? Doing some e-commerce and stuff like that. And that gave me a really good foundation for managing a whole business. Like I only had a couple of stores that were like actually successful. I brought in like a couple like tens of thousands of dollars in like revenue and stuff like that. But it more so just taught me a lot about like talking with suppliers. I was doing my own customer service. I was learning what good businesses look like, because if anyone can make a Shopify store, but who can make a converting Shopify store?
Yeah.
And anyone can post an ad and pay Facebook, $10 CPM for whatever, but no one can. It's more difficult to make it actually convert and build like the money machine. And so I had lots of times where I was definitely struggling, just because it's my very first business I was basically ever trying, besides like washing out trash cans or something like that when I was in like high school. And yeah, it was great. It was super fun. I learned a whole lot, especially a lot about like pay-per-click, especially about like what good websites look like, how to make people convert, marketing language and linguistics and stuff like that. And that was fun, but I was getting a little tired of managing the everything. And so I was like, well, I enjoy working on building the website, and websites and design is like very interesting to me. So I was kind of like, let's see how we can kind of pursue that. And so when I moved to San Diego about 3 years ago, that is when I started actually only making websites. And I would go to networking events and I'd be like, hey, like, do you want a website? Do you want a website? I'd get some people who had Shopify websites that they were like, oh, we need help converting. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's like right up my alley. That's what I've been doing the last like 3 years. And so I was doing websites for a long while, and that was really well. And then I was like, trying to figure out how to sell more websites as opposed to just going to networking events. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to email people and be like, do you need a website? And so I'd pay some guy in like the Philippines or something to scrape a big list of like Airbnb owners or like VRBO owners. And we would email them and say, hey, do you want like a direct booking website? And they'd be like, yeah, sometimes they'd say, yeah, like we're down. And then we'd make that. And then after a while, I was like, man, like I'm getting tired of fulfilling on websites now too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I'm getting people to respond to my emails. And so I was good at getting people to respond to my emails and actually sell like the product, but I didn't want to like actually fulfill on it anymore. And I was like, what if the product was
the market? Yeah, because that's the service. Boom.
100%. Yeah. And so that's like literally how it started. It was just purely
That's
from like, I
sick.
taught myself to do it. I became successful at it. And then I was like suffering from success in a way of like, I don't want to have to fulfill now. I'm like this promise.
Yeah.
But I think it was a bit easier for me to stay in the game of like marketing like go to market, because it was like a bit more analytical. It's like a lot of like data, and I'm a huge nerd, so it made it easy for me to kind of stick with that.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, so basically ever since you were like a kid, basically, like each thing kind of kept stacking on top of each other.
Yeah.
So that's really dope too, because like I feel like with most people, when they start a business, like one, they find out it's a lot harder than it is. And most people, good for you for making like tens of thousands of dollars, but for most people, you know, they end up like losing money or failing. And then they just kind of stop there, and it's just like, all right, well, I don't want to do this
They give
anymore.
up.
But like in your case, like you actually got to see some success and keep building up on the thing you were actually interested in and build the business around it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important note that you're bringing up, because it's like, although to this day I never went and I'm not still doing Shopify, or I'm not still making websites, or whatever it is, but like each of those things, despite them not being successful in like the traditional sense, I learned so much from doing that.
Yes,
You know,
100%.
I learned so many things. I learned how to talk to customers. I learned how to like make websites. I got taste. Many people just don't have like an eye for converting websites or converting businesses in general. And so it's like, if you're watching this and you're just starting out and like, I'm not sure I want to do it forever, like that's
okay.
fine. That's totally fine. Like just do it. Like,
Yeah, just do it. You're gonna learn a shit ton of this stuff. Like even if you fail or whatever, like the lesson is the win.
Yeah.
So that's like the most important thing. And like, I mean, I was like, I've started multiple 6-figure businesses, but I've also started a bunch of fucking duds like that lost a shit ton of money.
Just
but like,
happens.
yeah, it's just the way she goes, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to be okay with it, because like each of those failures or successes led me into like building these 3 other 6-figure businesses, which has been great. Give the people one specific challenge. It could be from any of those businesses or something like even recent, doesn't matter. Let's hear like a specific challenge that you recently had or just a long time ago. What was that specific challenge like? And then after you explain that, let's talk about like kind of like the turning point. Like what was the leverage or the tips or hacks that you used? Or like it could be like a mindset thing or whatever it is. Like what did you do to be able to overcome that? And then like the last thing I'll ask you about that is just like, what did that result in? So like first question is like, what's the specific struggle you've had in business?
Yeah. I think for me, I'd say mindset was like a big one for me, especially in terms of like consistency on like a specific project, because I think it's really easy. And I was a huge victim of this, and I even still am in many ways, a victim of the shiny object syndrome.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's like, everybody. I've got like ADHD too, and I'm just like, my girlfriend's always like, just sit down, focus. And I'm like, damn it, you're right.
100%. And so like, I'm also the same way. Like I'm also pretty ADHD, and like, I would love like making, like I would see all these different like Snapchat ads or TikTok ads or Facebook, or not Facebook ads, like Instagram ads. And I'd be like, oh, like these people are killing it with like this specific product. And I'd be like, I should do that too. Because if they're making it, then I can make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then
you didn't even get the first thing started.
Yeah. And I'd be saying that while I literally have like a Shopify store that has like orders being fulfilled.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, why would I jump ship on like a brand new thing and do like another 90% of the work just to like
not fully see it through.
Yeah, 100%. And so I have probably like made, and not even like make as in like make like the website for it. I mean like fully made and ran ads for like at least 20 different like Shopify stores and like whatever over the course of like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I would think, or I look back and I go, if I had just thought more about like why this particular business model wasn't working,
Than just
I think I would
ship.
have, then just jumping ship and just thinking the grass is always greener. But the grass is greener where you water it. And like to be specific, right? It's like, especially in drop shipping, the only thing that really matters, or I think one of the things that matters the most, is like how good your creative is. And so I'd make like 4 or 5 ad creatives, and I'd start like running ads for them, and I'd see a little bit of success or whatever, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's not working."
Yeah,
which
is on to the next thing.
Yeah, which is crazy
what am I
because
selling next?
someone else is making it work.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the problem is clearly not the product. The problem is me. You know what I mean? And so I think, I don't know, I think Hormozi put that really well too, where it's easy to make excuses as to like why something like wouldn't work for you. But if you see someone else doing it and doing it well, like it could only be a you problem. Because if that person came into your business today, they
would make it successful. It's obviously
there's a there's a bottleneck here.
I really like that mindset too, because that's like the mindset I've always like. The other thing beyond business, I also started a DJ project last year that's actually really been taking off. I've like really growing in the San Diego scene, getting booked out in LA, played my first music festival. Anyways, the reason why I brought that up, to your point, is like one of the biggest mindset things that I always tell myself is just like, if somebody else is successful at it, there's no reason why I can't do it. Because like I remember before I started taking this seriously, I'd go out to clubs or even some like concerts or festivals. I'm like, this guy fucking sucks. Like, dude, like he's like, the song selection's not good. You're standing up there. You don't even look like you're having a good time. Yeah. And you're playing the same beat for like 4 hours. Like if you can do this, so can I.
Right.
And I feel like that's such a strong mindset. Like also too, in your case too, like be consistent. Don't just like jump ship onto the very next thing, but like really commit to something. But using that social proof of other people, especially if you know you could work just as hard as them, if not harder. You know you have the skills, you just need to put in the hours, then you can fucking do it.
100%. I mean, there are like real, for lack of a better word, there are some really stupid people that are really successful.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, dude, these guys are fucking retarded, dude. Like, one of my really good friends, the reason why I got into Airbnb arbitrage was I remember he was crushing it, and I was like, you're just as retarded as I am, dude. Like, we went to the same college, we partied just as hard together, like
I know your brain's not that much more fried than mine.
So I was like, I could do it, and then he put me on, and I was like, all right, cool, this shit works. You know, so it's like also just having like the right like influences and circles, or like consuming the right content that gives you that inspiration. So like anyone who is watching, if you're thinking about getting into something, like make sure like just as you'd like have like a food diet, like how are you consuming like information? What positivity? What type of like language are you telling yourself? Like, can I do it? Or like, oh. Or are you saying this person's lucky, I'm jealous, or whatever? Like that's not gonna help 100%, you.
100%, like victimizing, or like
I can't stand victims. Like get that the fuck away from me, dog.
So many people who are like, oh well, like they're only successful because of like this or like because of this, and it's like, but they are, and like in the words of Andrew Tate, like you're poor.
You're poor. You're poor. You don't drive like, a Bugatti.
Dude, and like I remember I was watching like the Hormozi podcast too, and he's like, man, like I caught myself like lacking one day essentially, where he was like, oh, Kylie Jenner just became like the first like female billionaire. Self-made. He's like, well, she's not technically self-made because this and this, and he's like, but like she's way richer than me. So like, why does it matter?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, because like people will make all these excuses like, oh, they came from money or whatever. Like this whole podcast too is called Built from Nothing, to like find out like where people started, what's their rags to riches. But like I also know not everyone's like rags to riches. Like, but everyone has a struggle and a challenge that we could learn from. And I think the key thing is like when you catch yourself in that victim mindset, and I've done this too before with DJing. I'm like, why does this person get all these opportunities? Like, I know I'm way better than them. Even if that's true, if your energy is focused on blaming, you're wasting time and energy to where like, okay, let me go network more. If that's how they got there, like whatever somebody's doing well that you find as jealousy is a mirror to you saying like, hey, you actually value that. And you're a little jealous, like instead of like shifting from jealousy, shift it into like inspiration. Because like, all right, if this guy could do it, I could do it. He's able to do it because he has the connections or whatever it is. Then like, all right, well now I know what I gotta work on.
Like if you think that person sucks and like they're still making it, that's just more reason to be like, well, if he sucks and I'm good, then like I'll for sure make it.
I'll be great.
That's just validation.
This guy's an idiot.
Exactly. 100%, dude. 100%. Yeah, I think. At that point you brought up too, where it's like not everyone came from like rags or whatever, but like it was hard for everybody. No matter what
everyone
it was,
has a challenge.
No one's handed that stuff. Like even people like Kylie Jenner, like although it's not like working in like the weeds and the dirt, like she's also making tons and tons of content, and she's being pulled in like 1,000 different directions. Like it is not easy to make money no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like some people have some privilege, but at the end of the day, like thinking about that isn't going to help. You're still going to be poor. Like if you're wasting your time like justifying why you're not and they are, like you're still poor at the end of the day. So just shift that energy into something a little bit more productive.
Just look at anything else at all.
That's sick. So I mean, I guess the turning point for you, so like just to kind of recap, like the big struggle for you was just like, you know, being young, getting into this business, seeing what other people are doing, seeing it successful. Yes, it is good to like have that inspiration, but also just have some focus, be able to stick into something long enough and actually fully see it through before 100%. Just like jumping ship essentially.
Yeah, because I'll get some people, I mean, I'll give one of the most like obvious benefits of like sticking in the game, right? Especially with like sticking with one specific thing is like, I've been doing the lead generation and go-to-market stuff now for almost 2 years, right? Or like a little over 2 years. And one thing I've noticed is like how many people hit you up months after the fact that you met them, or like over a year after the fact, or like I have a guy that I met in like my very early days, and like we've been partners for like over 2 years now, and he'll just throw a client to me every once in a while, and it's like, how could I have ever gotten the fruit from that opportunity if I was already onto something else? Because it didn't work right away. Or it didn't work in the first couple of months. You know what I mean? So just like the longer that you're in something, it's so obvious that it compounds, because you'll meet so many people in their head, you're taking up headspace being like, I'm the lead generation guy, I'm the credit building guy. Yeah. And that if you're still doing that
let me send him to this guy.
100%.
Yeah. I've literally just had that last week. Like some guy that was like supposed to be a client like 2 years ago hit me up. He was like, I'm finally ready. I was like, here's
boom, like 2 years
credit card, let's go. Come on, just Stripe invoice.
And if you were already finished with that, you'd have to be like, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah. You'd be like, you know, versus like
it destroys like trust too. And like with the compound thing too, one of my mentors that I like paid a bunch of money to like teach me was telling me like, just like so many people think of like instant gratification, especially in the like this digital age where everyone's just fucking TikTok brain, you know? And I really like the quote he said was like, the fruits of your labor, like what you have in life right now is the result of what you've been doing in the past 6 months or a year or whatever. So if you're not getting clients right now, it's probably because like what have your habits been in the last 6 months? Like, have you actually been studying marketing? Have you been testing new things? Like, like, for example, like for me, back in the day, I got fired from like my job doing like festivals and stuff. And I was like, oh, woe is me. Like, how did this happen? I was like, oh, what was I doing the last 6 months? Like, I was like partying a lot, taking a bunch of substances. And I knew I was supposed like, the universe was telling me to like stop or like hold up. And I just like didn't listen to it. And you know, the universe pushed me in a direction that I was like, fuck. But like, I'm actually glad that happened, because now starting this DJ project, I'm like a lot more mature. I'm not like, a lot of times I'm DJing sober. So like some of these like bad moments actually become a blessing if you look at it as the lesson.
100%. You can look at anything with like just as a learning moment or as a blessing. So many fun times.
That's sick, dude. Well, thanks for the sauce. I think the next thing I kind of want to talk about like is for your business right now, like where is it at and where do you want to take it?
Yeah, of course we're always looking for new clients. But beyond that, I'm really enjoying the journey of figuring out how to operationalize like more and more, because especially like, for example, like I'm in the service industry. So we're reaching out to people and providing a service to them for whatever kind of retainer. And it gets difficult where it's like, I can only handle personally so many people. And so now we have people who are like our social media coordinators. And it's very difficult to train and onboard and build the part of the machine that's so important. Because it's like, if our main bread, like it's easy for me to outsource like social media content or
like any Filipino, if you go on the online jobs.ph, will be like, I can do content. I'm like, okay, buddy.
You know, and you teach them a little bit and you're like, okay, this is how we're going to do things. And like, as long as you have like a broader system, like it's going to work out. But I think my biggest challenge right now is like, we're reaching more and more capacity where like my hands are like just literally getting too full. And so now I have to try and find how to hire someone for a really important role, which is like a go-to-market engineer.
Yeah, like not just like a VA, like somebody who actually has experience, knows their shit. Yeah, and you'll probably have to pay him more than $3 an hour. And it's like, oh, damn it!
No, not the $3 an hour. I think that's like a really interesting thing, because it's like now that's like our main bread and butter as like a business. It's like if we're not supplying them an ROI on the service, they're gonna leave and whatever.
Of course.
And I could technically, if I really, really wanted to, hire like, you know, a VA, which was going to be replaced by AI in like a couple of months anyways, to like, hey, put this in the chat GPT and then like do this, but to actually teach somebody taste and to teach them how to like take, what's the word? It's not like agency, take like an opportunity.
Yeah, they're like...
Oh, initiative. Take initiative on like, what is the latest technology? Like, how do I hire somebody better than me?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's actually like interested in it, not just for the paycheck, like clocking in. It's just like, I want you to be innovative as well. Like, here's my process. You're doing this specific job for 8 hours a day. It better be better.
Yeah.
Like, after this month or the next month. Like, it's, because I'm doing other shit. And if I could find better ways to make it better, and you're doing this 8 hours a day, and I'm only doing it for like a couple hours, like,
you better be killing it.
You better be freaking killing it, or you're get the fuck out.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
and so it's like I'm trying to figure out like when you're hiring people, like you have to be like learning things in the interview, because like if I'm hiring you and you're not saying words that I've never heard of before, technologies
you're
that
not
I don't know
teaching
about
me,
that, then it's like I know you're not gonna be better than me, because it's like I already know all these things I can do it myself. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest thing right now is trying to figure out how to replace these key roles and operationalize that at that scale.
That's dope, because like I think Hormozy was saying this, like making your first 100K is like super hard. However, like you could just go through it and grit it, like just hard work, grind. You could make 100K. That's what I did. It was just solopreneur. I'm doing marketing, sales, and fulfillment, freaking everything. Yeah, you could do it, but like you probably can't do that like for years. I did that for the first like year, 2 years. And then like, the big issue that it sounds like is just like leverage, because you don't want to be doing everything. There's specific strengths that you want to keep getting better and would rather outsource the stuff that you don't care about. So like, it sounds like the biggest struggle for you is just not even finding the right, or it is finding the right people, but like you said, having the actual experience, initiative, and mindset is really tough. And I feel like anyone who is watching, if you do have a business and you are a solopreneur, I could guarantee you're probably working 10, 12 hours a day, hating your life. Like, why did I leave my 9 to 5 to work 24/7? You know what I mean?
100%. So for another job, and it's like 2 in 1, and you're getting paid less, and you're like,
might even be losing money, like.
But definitely just stick with it. Definitely
just stick with it. Yeah. And I mean, I guess for like hiring purposes, like if there's anyone out there watching this podcast, like feel free to hit up Jeff. I'm always looking for new talent as well. Like I've gone through and hired tons of VAs and fired a ton of VAs.
I've heard the most horror stories from you, I feel like.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of them. Like, damn, I just wasted months of my time. I wasted a lot of money. So like, if you guys have something and you guys are watching this, drop some tips in the comments of like best way of doing it. Drop some value. If you know any people you could refer, we'll give them I'll give them a shot for sure, because I'm always looking for new talent. Yeah. I'm always looking to not be working on the business the whole time. I want to be doing my DJ project more.
100%.
So
as many things as you can outsource, like definitely do that. And focus really heavily on just like driving results. Even like especially for service like you and I, like referrals are huge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you're providing like good stuff, then I mean people will talk about it.
Exactly. And that's like a big thing that I've like switched my whole like marketing strategy for funding clients. Cause like, before I was doing it all myself, I was doing marketing, sales, fulfillment, got a VA to do some of the admin work, hired my best friend for fulfillment director, and then I hired a sales setter. So I'm still closing, doing the CEO stuff. But our new like marketing strategy is just like, we're just cold outreach and looking for affiliates who have those people that actually need funding, because it's a lot easier to close people because there's the trust built out.
Right. They're educated in a certain way.
Yeah, they're educated and they actually need it. They're more qualified, more motivated.
And what kind of like affiliates are you guys looking for?
We're looking for, we work with a lot of mortgage brokers, like real estate investors, coaches, and consultants. So like, I definitely want to connect with you because I feel like your services, like we're doing a bunch of manual like outreach for cold, and we're getting some affiliates, but I feel like, dude, if we could be sending 10,000 emails, even at a 1% conversion rate, and like close one of those people and they're a solid affiliate, like, dude,
immediate ROI.
Immediate ROI, and, they're getting paid out thousands of dollars per client they send us. So that's actually personally one of the big struggles I'm facing with and working to overcome. And, that's going to be you. You're going to be the one to help fix that
100%.
stuff.
For anyone that is looking to like build revenue, just ask yourself, how many people have I asked if they want to buy my services? Because some people just like, they fulfill, they do all this different stuff, but it's like, are you actually asking enough people that would like result in you getting conversions? Like, are you going to events? Are you DMing people? Are you posting content? Like, what is like your funnel? You know what I mean?
And what are you like? My business partner was like telling me this too. It was like a good like slap in the face because I needed it. He's like, how are you spending your time? Because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make content. Let me make all these systems on the back end. Make a new payroll like Excel sheet and
new spreadsheet.
I feel productive, and it's just like, the hours you spend on the business doesn't mean it's productive. Like, and it made me realize, and basically how I was interpreting what he was saying was like, if I'm not on the phones, like, you're not fucking doing your job. Like your job, like right now, if your goal is to get more cash flow and more leads, then why are you not talking to those people? Like, don't build the systems for it until you actually are getting, getting some results from it. Because you don't even like, why build a system if you don't even know it fully works just yet?
Yeah, I heard the idea of like, I think I was telling you is like the I forget the first word, but it's like this adjacent like procrastination. You know, where it's like you feel like you're being productive because like I'll spend hours like vibe coding a new like inbox for our clients to go ahead and look at it. It takes up my entire day, but it was like I could have spent this time researching more prospects or sending video DMs or like whatever. Like actually
something like
revenue.
Money generating activities only if you're just starting. Yeah. Especially if you're just starting, you guys are probably like barely getting by or maybe even losing money.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But like also ask yourself like, is this specific activity making me money, and like reprioritizing? Because that's like the biggest thing that I've been struggling with myself. Is
it
just
never goes away.
It never goes away. And I'm like, because it's basically like the shiny object syndrome, but like, adjacent productivity that's not really that productive.
Yeah.
Like, so
and it's like, it feels exciting because you're like, oh, I'm technically working on my business. So like I'm doing whatever, but it's like, it's not revenue increasing. Like this isn't solving your problems. It feels like you are like, try and call yourself out for doing like work adjacent procrastination. Because it's like, unless you're making insane amounts of money or whatever, like just focus on like our friend says, like solving the revenue problem.
Which is just like marketing and sales. Like that's the only, like if you have a good product and it actually gets people results, the only two things you should be caring about is marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Or like hiring somebody to do that. But like if you're just starting off, like honestly, you got to fucking do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like do not think money will solve your problem. I mean, it definitely helps. Like if you're not good at marketing or sales, like I mean, for me as like a business funding specialist, like that's how I started my businesses. I didn't have tens of thousands of dollars laying around to start like 7 Airbnbs, but I was like, I know how to get 0% business credit funding.
Boom.
Instead of just like hiring somebody to go do it, I was like, well, this is a big core part of the business. I'm going to hire somebody to teach me how to do the business. So when I hire people, I know if they're bullshitting me or not.
Yeah.
You know, like
100%.
Do they actually know what the fuck they're talking about type of thing? So in a lot of ways, like capital does help. And that's exactly what I help people with is I help them solve their problems with money. But just having a ton of capital
isn't everything.
It's like the same thing as like, is this like prioritizing your activity? Is this money going to the right activity or person to actually leverage it? Or am I just spending a bunch of money
to stay afloat or like to whatever? Yeah, because I feel like especially if, and this is probably like more applicable to people who are like just now starting out, they'll try and build out all their systems and all the fancy Excel sheets and stuff like that before even starting a person like a client. You know what I mean?
And you're already thousands of dollars down the drain and you don't even know if it works yet.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's like, I'm a big believer of like the get paid to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like if you have an idea of like how you're going to do it and you're confident that like you as an individual have like the ethical capacity to like figure it out and like do it correctly, you know, sign the client and like figure it out and like get paid to figure it out at least. You know what I mean? So you're not trying to like, I don't know, like just people will build out their systems or they'll build out operations and they'll try and like, I don't know, just get paid to figure it out, you know?
Yeah, and just make sure, have the social proof that it actually works before investing all the time, like making all these SOPs and stuff, because it's like, dude, you don't know what works.
100%.
You don't know, and it's probably going to be changed like next week anyway. So
Boom.
like,
Yep, 100%.
just figure out the best way of doing it yourself, and then later, once you're making money, have the freaking VA do it for $3 an hour and you're good.
Exactly, yeah. 100%.
Well, cool, dude. I think we could start wrapping this up. But dude, thanks so much for being on the first edition of Built From Nothing. And thank you to everybody who took the time to listen to this. Where can people find you?
Find me on my LinkedIn. Just look up Jeffrey Schroeder. Sell in Public is our company name. We're all about people putting their face where their money is, being able to put yourself out there, posting your content, selling as a founder-led individual for whatever your company is. If you have a revenue problem, ask more people for revenue.
There you go. Hell yeah. So yeah, Jeff is the email marketing, LinkedIn, and sales guy. So if you guys ever have any questions or interested in him when using their services, definitely reach out. My name is Miggle. Thank you guys for taking the time. Have a great day. Peace.
Thank you so much, man. That was sick.